Okay, so let's get into a few topics, but I'm gonna give y'all a few minutes first. Intro. So I'm gonna give y'all a bit of an itinerary, okay? So this is for Wednesday. Um, it's the 8th, it's the 9th though, right? It's gotta be the 9th. So it's Wednesday the 9th. I guess I may have wrote these down on the other date for the... Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all some time to come in before we go into some other things. But anyway, I was giving y'all the itinerary. The itinerary is gonna be part 1, then 2 and 3. Part 1 is gonna be intros. It's a 5-minute introduction. We're in 1 minute now, so you guys have 4 more minutes to go. And then once we do that, we're gonna answer any questions that we may see pop up in the chat, and then we're gonna move on. And then we're going to go to part 2. So welcome, I'm Anastasia Shapiro Moore. This is where I curate glow ticket topic tips for anybody who's curious about the topics that we have. This is going to be part 2, love, sex, and family. And then we're going to take a break, probably about 10 minutes or so. 5, maybe like, I don't know, just a few minutes to up to 20. And that's going to wrap up part 2, and then we're going to move towards part 3. We're going to close, recap, and then we're going to get into next time. I'll probably see you all, and then any news that I may want to have shared with you all, and then anything that we may have missed is going to go in this section as well. So we're wrapping up our 2-minute mark, so we're going to leave this for another 3 minutes for people to kind of sort of check in with one another. While we're doing that, then I guess I will wrap up a few of my chores. So I was just doing a few odds and ends here. Our brand space's owner's father had some car issues, so I've been allowing us to share some of our resources. So that's why I'm usually working, but I got to experience some breakage, so now I had an opportunity to create more. So that's working out beautifully. Okay, so we're hitting the 3-minute mark, so we're going to give it 2 more minutes before we get into part 2. And so I was doing, like I said, some tidbit of some chores. And then I'm going to take out the trash and then go and have a nightly walk with our Brain Spaces owner's daughter, Satasia, as well. And then we're going to wrap up our evening. But I was taking some time out to do a bit of like domesticated work. So that's definitely what I'm doing now. And our Brain Spaces owner was saying something about our hair earlier, but I like it. We had just wrapped it up and curled it really good the night before, that I had been taking care of it and trying to not rely on my bonnet because it was starting to grow, so it kind of outgrew it. So now I have to look into other resources that's going to help take care of its length now for retention. So that's the current process that he keeps talking about. But I did buy some new pillowcases, and I will try to possibly link those. I have not seen a link for those, so then again, maybe I won't. So I am going to take some other precautions. It's in the 4-minute mark, so we have 1 more minute left to kind of sort of figure out some ways to preserve our hair with the satin pillowcases, so that we can just grow as long as it needs without keep having to invest in different size bonnets. I'm going to just invest in the satin cases for their pillows instead. Preserve our hair. Okay, so it's 4:30-minute mark now, so we'll give it another 30 seconds. And so I don't usually live on Wednesday, so this is just a bonus content. This might be rather short, so 15 more seconds on the clock, and then we'll basically wrap that up for the intro. Okay, so there's no questions. Usually people are asking how are you and things like that, so I don't see that today. So okay, the 5-minute intro mark is up, so I'm going to move on. Hi, welcome, hello. So the glow ticket topic tips, we're going to get into those now, and the first one is going to stem around love. So when it comes to dealing with love, people are not really sure, but this is the best emotion, and y'all may be curious as to where I got that from. That's a teaching in Christianity that Jesus talks about as having like hope, faith, and things like that. Like those are great emotions, but the best one is not hope nor faith. It's actually the emotion of love. How love clears a multitude of sins. Hi, how are you all? And it does. As I kind of sort of figure out my own life and things like that, you'd be surprised that not everybody kind of feels similarly, and it's kind of sad. So maybe, myself, people think that women are emotional, or, I read before that sometimes women are angry, so they shed tears, and people consider it being emotional. But I don't know if it's just because we don't get enough love, or we just don't express love enough to women in particular. I don't know how to really word it, but that's definitely what's appropriate. And if it's not given, it can feel mean. It can make women angry. So I definitely agree with those sources, and I probably need to cite them because we know how that goes. I don't want to plagiarize or anything like that. But I think you only might have to just be able to do is just Google, and it normally pops up. So people say that we're in love or something like that. I don't really like to do that. I like to say that I consider the fallen angel. So that can mean whether for God or my own hubby. It can be just like a faith or something that I believed in, like a religious background. That can be another like reasoning behind that type of emotion. But it's best to experience that way to say fallen, because it's an expression behind love. It's not about like I've fallen or I can't get up. Isn't that the old commercial for some of the elderly? They fallen and they couldn't get up. And what's sad about that too, I've experienced love for elderly people myself on my own. And one person in particularly right now, I can speak of, they're about 99. So who elderly is, and they're some of the most compassionate people. So she'll call me even if I'm just like supposedly like nobody cares in the world about anything that I'm doing. Speaking of, sometimes we don't get that, and that makes us upset, and so we're crying as women. But she's not like this. Well, I call her Great Aunt Geneva, if anybody's curious. And so she's like I said, but instead of doing that, I'll happen to have been somewhere and I'll get a call, and I'm like, oh, okay, something's going on, so it's harder to answer, but the thought is still there. And so as I'm transversing the waters that we all are going through on our own, then it's easier to have someone in your corner than not. And that's where I believe Jesus speaks about how that's the best emotion, because just of the simple fact that it's sowing seeds. And again, it's almost back to reaping and sowing. And people feel like it is a harvest. Like you have the farmers, and all of a sudden it's a harvest between men and women. And like, I don't know why we take it to those type of, I don't even want to call it extremes, so I can feel like the little things going. But in so many words that it kind of sort of takes away from some of the more simplistic ideas. And we all are really happy birthday. So simple. So you're the Aries. Yeah, Aries' birthdays are here. Y'all are really sweet though, so I hope you enjoy your, and have fun, live it up. YOLO, you only get one. So get your flowers while you here, you know what I mean? Get your kudos and things like that while you here. That's definitely a need for celebrating and celebratory well wishes. So again, that's necessarily it, and it's rare because sometimes you don't get that. Like, you may think that it's something that's really common, and maybe this is a mistake that we do. Yeah, happy birthday. And I am not a big stickler of trying to just, I guess, I hate to say go with the masses. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, it's something about being able to kind of sort of allow love room to blossom and to grow, or to have a moment that we can express it and we can allow it to permeate and grow to the point where we can have a reflective moment like, oh, okay, cool, that has actually went into a certain moment, and we can notice it and feel good about ourselves instead of worrying about who's coming up behind us because we didn't sow those seeds of love. And I know that sounds so dramatic. My girlfriend used to say that all the time. My brand space is on his girlfriend, Brittany Walker. You're just so dramatic. And I just thought, well, I'm being how I only am able to be at my own said abilities. That's being dramatic. Like, but nonetheless, we haven't spoken in years. So, and the fact that we can't even really talk no more is a testament to how many times that, people can't show who they are, and we have to take responsibility and accept that that's what we've been shown. And that's a part of having a true characteristic, and having those moments where we don't shy away from them. I mean, what's going to be the point if I'm in the midst of doing some things? Am I supposed to just run up, even though I know we haven't spoken in years? Am I supposed to forget that all of this time has passed by without a single hello, and embrace that entity? Because then where was the love? That's a perfect Lil Wayne segue. Look, bro, 1, 2, 3. Where the love go? Like, I'm curious. If I did that now, am I considered the phoniest person? So you're justified in calling me dramatic? Is that all that you're after? Is that your only aim in life? Is to make me feel dramatic? But when I speak about my own great Aunt Geneva, and I says that she sows love, and when I'm calling about to smack something else, was it you or her, or this entity? I'm just keeping it real. So you can throw if you like, but that's not going to change who did what, no matter how many stones you throw. And at the end of the day, you're not even supposed to really throw anything. And people got the nerve to say, oh, she'll build empires out of stones thrown at them. I don't even clone half of this stuff. These are just things that I run across, and I have an understanding, and I try to share it with my own audiences. So that's love. Sex. Woo! I be woo. So sex is another really creative force. And I really love being... Message is retracted. Okay, cool. So nonetheless, sex is something that's really creative, but sometimes we can use it for ill. Now, this is something I've read about, and if you're curious, the book in particular is from the Great School of Natural Science. If anybody wants to Google or figure those type of things out, that's one. And then sex transmutation is a really live idea by Napoleon Hill. I believe that's in Think and Grow Rich with Peace of Mind. And from my own personal experiences as well, it's really a creative force. And people are also known for saying that they're really highly sex individuals, which is true. Myself, as a young female, I was curious about sex when I was like 5. Okay. And so I said that to give you all a real life example in real lifetime. Now that you have that as well, the fact that I'm actually a very an entity that loves for creating. I'll give you another example. Just running across all of the different things there. And thank you for the thumbs up, and make sure y'all subscribe as well. But it just goes to show that how many things are built just based off the emotion of sex. Just getting dressed based off whatever mood you're in. I had wore a piece of lingerie, and it took me forever to build confidence enough to wear it, to have that stance, but I had it for all of that time. Or let's say, for an example, everybody's been talking about, and I hate to say it like that, but I mean, hey, that's just the facts of it. You have to go back and you can find it for yourselves on your own. But they'll simply say that you're buying all of these things with the speak, girl, go ahead, that you have the expectation for things to go a certain way, which I actually appreciate. I don't know if anybody else do, but my own thoughts, they are that way. And so you buy all of the little things, and you admire whatever else goes on, and then you have instances where that's really positive. And now you have the positivity there, which is where you're supposed to keep it at as a PMA. A PMA means a positive mental attitude. That's what you think about. That's the whole reason why you bought the lingerie. As an example, that's the whole entire point of the different color schemes, of the whole different type of moods you set, the dim lights, the candles, the burning, the incense, the cocoa butter, the condoms, whatever you want to have that makes your drinking night or your wine glasses and permeates whatever thought it is in category that you want to express. That's the whole entire point and image of having those intimate moments with your significant other. So now when you have those moments there, and you have people who are plotting against it, now it's being used for ill. You have, and I'll give you a perfect quote for this. I believe this comes from Jay-Z. I believe it might be Blow the Whistle remix. And they're like, I'll spend the night out of spite with the chick that you've been dating. Now, this again is sex used for an ill intent, for revenge because somebody offended somebody else. That's where, and what's really sad about that is the fact that that weak female can actually allow someone else to sleep with them in order to allow somebody to control and exert some kind of force over somebody else, so that the entities can feel as though I've got one up over someone else. That's where I really just am like, okay, that's used for ill. So you see people who kind of look sick, maybe they're not really into sex, they shy away from sex, they don't really want to be bothered with sex. And sometimes I guess sex is an extremely sensitive topic, but in order to use it for transmutation purposes and things like that, it's really creative as well. Sometimes we get in trouble with certain thoughts, fellatio or whatever the issues are, and we're soliciting other people to have harassment and things like that. I know for a fact I've seen other people kind of sort of get too accustomed to one thing, and then it becomes a battle again because it's used for ill. And then you have those moments where you have to sit down and speak to somebody. They have perfect counselors. They have all kind of readily available resources where you can actually utilize and actually figure out how to use your sex emotion creatively so that you can have a more beneficial and harmonious experience. Creatives, you probably are highly sex, and I hope YouTube does not take this down. If so, I really didn't mean anything else by that. That was just one of the topics that I wanted to use to show as a creative spirit that was the whole entire point of that. So I know people are probably going to start freaking out or whatever else, but that's not none of my business at this point. But I wanted you to know, you can look like you are using sex for ill as well, or using this type of emotion for ill. You can look the part because it's so easy to actually witness and see. I don't know why people just assume that what you doing is not able to be seen with the power of the eyes, and then just assume like that hiding in plain sight stuff. That is so annoying. That is one of the worst tropes that I have ever heard. I don't even know who says that. Like, it's whoever says that needs to stop. Like, I'm telling you now, you are tricking yourself into believing this, and this is just not what it is. So that's my glow ticket topic tip for that type of idea. Please stop believing that you can hide in plain sight. No, the fact that you look like you have not been using anything creatively for years shows. We can smell it, we can sense it, it's readily available, it's going so quickly to the forefront that you're not fooling nobody.